A very good morning to all of you. A very warm welcome to this very, very special edition of the CISC Inspire. Dear students, teachers, and the CISC fraternity, we are overjoyed to have amongst us none other than Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, the Indian astronaut to be the first person on the International Space Station, the first Gaganyatri, the pioneer, and delightfully for us, the brightest star in the galaxy of CISCE alumni. So, sir, welcome on board. Welcome to the forum. It's a delight. And now I would request our Chief Executive and Secretary, Dr. Joseph Emmanuel, to kindly welcome Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla to the platform and share our happiness and gratitude with him.
Good morning, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, all the students, teachers, and all the ladies and gentlemen joined us on this platform today. Let me begin with wishing our dear Group Captain a very, very happy birthday. Today being his birthday, he has shown keen interest and lot of enthusiasm to join the CISC students and to share his experiences of space mission. All of us are fascinated with the grandma stories about the space and the moon and the stars. And here we have your elder brother, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, with you to share whatever he has seen in the space, whatever experiences he had, and whatever tireless effort he has made to reach up to that greater height. So it's an inspiration to every child in the Indian school education sector. Today, hundreds of schools and thousands of students joined us on this platform to watch, listen, and interact with the Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla. It's a great momentous occasion for each one of us. And we are grateful to Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla for accepting this invitation and joining us on this platform today. And this special edition will bring a lot of inspiration, igniting so many minds to achieve greater heights in their career path. Once again, I thank Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla and extend him a very warm welcome on this platform. And I also take the opportunity to thank INAX to coordinate this event in a big way, to share the great experience of our group, our dear Group Captain with the students across the country. Thank you. Welcome, Group Captain, once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. It's a privilege to be here on this platform. As you said, I am a proud product of Indian school education system in general and CISCE in particular. And sitting here before you. And a very good morning to all the kids and the future of our country who are sitting and listening from their classrooms to me. Thank you for coming out. I think this was the best possible way for me to celebrate my birthday. There could have been a way.
Thank you so much for that, Group Captain Shukla. We have a little surprise for you in a way of a video that we've put up for you to show our love, gratitude, and best wishes on your birthday, sir. So the team, can I ask you to please put it up?
Every great journey begins with a dream, a spark in childhood that lights the path to extraordinary achievements. Today, we celebrate the remarkable life and journey of Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, an officer, a test pilot, a Gaganyatri, and above all, a true inspiration for generations to come. Born and raised with values of discipline and determination, CISCE alumnus Shubhanshu Shukla's journey began in the classrooms of City Montessori School, Aliganj, Lucknow. As a student, he displayed not just academic brilliance, but also a deep curiosity for science, technology, and the skies above. It was 1999, during the Kargil War, that his destiny found its true calling. At just 16, with a desire to serve the nation, Shubhanshu Shukla secretly but dedicatedly appeared for the NDA examination without sharing it with anyone at home. This courage and conviction became the foundation of his journey into the Indian Air Force. Answering the call of duty, he joined the Indian Air Force in year 2006, where his skill and determination soon set him apart. He has flown some of the world's most advanced aircraft like the MiG-21, MiG-29, Jaguar, Su-30 MKI, F-16, Hawk, Dornier, the T-38, and even piloted the Dragon spacecraft. As a test pilot, he is the only one to have gained such a diverse and extraordinary flying experience. These years of relentless training prepared him for the ultimate mission, space. In July 2025, history was created. Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla became the first ISRO astronaut to visit the International Space Station, participating in the Axiom-4 Mission. His achievement is not just personal glory, but a milestone for our nation, inspiring every young Indian to believe that no dream is too distant, no star is too far. In an interaction with Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla said,
सक्सेस का कोई एक रास्ता नहीं होता कि आप कभी कोई एक रास्ता लेता है, कोई दूसरा रास्ता लेता है, लेकिन एक चीज जो हर रास्ते में कॉमन होती है वो ये होती है कि आप कभी कोशिश मत छोड़िए, नेवर स्टॉप ट्राइंग। अगर आपने ये मूल मंत्र अपना लिया कि आप किसी भी रास्ते पे हो, कहीं पे भी हो, लेकिन आप कभी गिव अप नहीं करेंगे, तो सक्सेस चाहे आज आए या कल आए, पर आएगी जरूर।
So today, on behalf of the entire Council for the Indian School Certificate Examinations CISCE Education Fraternity, we salute Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, the brightest star in the galaxy of illustrious CISCE alumni, a son of India, a hero of the skies, and a beacon for future generations. Wish you a very happy birthday, sir. May your journey continue to inspire us all.
I hope we've been able to capture your exhilarating journey to some extent, Group Captain Shukla. We attempted, and it is such a dream come true. You know, we never thought, our children never thought, you know, that we would be watching this video with you, with us here today. So we would really like to hear you. The children are waiting from all across the country, and the platform is all yours, sir. We'll begin now with the keynote address.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, first of all. Let me tell you, watching these videos, and you've done an exceptional job. I would say that it is the most accurate representation, even from the type of aircraft that you have shown. They're actually the aircraft that you've written below. It really happens. So speaks a lot of the kind of effort that has gone into this. I was reliving my mission through this video of yours. So thank you so much for doing this. It was truly something that it took me back to the days when I was there on the orbit and doing all those things. Thanks a lot. Thank you, sir, for organizing this. I'm really grateful. I think this is what my mission has been. So when I was going for my mission, during the quarantine, it got stretched. We were supposed to be 14 days in the quarantine, but we ended up staying 32 days in the quarantine, and I had a lot of time to think. And it is in those days that I thought that, my actual mission will begin once this mission is over, which is when I come back from the space mission and I splash down. That is the time that my mission would actually begin. And I'm happy that with steps like these, what we are doing today, reaching out to so many kids and sharing the story that I have been able to live, I hope it generates a curiosity amongst these minds. And they are the ones who are going to solve the problems that will take us to the dreams and ambitions that we have planned for us, like having our own space station, going to the moon and Mars and beyond. So what I will do is I will go through my story. I will tell you the lessons that I learned during this story. Hopefully they will apply to you in some facet of life. And once I have done that, I would be happy to answer the questions that you may have.
Captain Shukla had sent a video to showcase to all of you. I think we will take this time to show the video to the audience.
When I think or feel about having the flag on my left shoulder, I just want Hungarian people to know that we did this. We were able to achieve this. And it completely doesn't matter for me who is in the suit. I am proud, but I just want them to be proud as well.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lift off.
For 3 nations, a new chapter in space takes flight. Godspeed, AX4.
Welcome, Earthlings, from Great.
It's an amazing feeling to be in orbit for the first time. When I looked out through the window for the first time, the view was just stunning.
Wow, what a ride it was. But when the ride started, it was something. Like, you're getting pushed back into the seat. It was an amazing ride. And then suddenly, nothing. It was an amazing feeling.
We also wanted to thank you for, basically, thanks for everyone around the world, and every person, every team who made this beautiful day happen.
Grace crew, welcome aboard the International Space Station. Peggy, welcome back. It's a great honor and privilege to have such a legendary astronaut on board with us. And Thibaut, Shooks, and Swab, congratulations on your first space flight.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.
I travel to space with the dreams of a billion hearts with me. I want them to live this journey with me because I feel that it is equally theirs as it is mine. Because I feel that this is truly the journey of an entire nation.
And look where we can go when we work together on common platform, common science, then sky is no longer the limit. We can explore space, we can explore science, we can explore technology and build new solutions for the future.
The AX4 crew came here with a purpose and a really busy agenda. This was a great mission and we enjoyed it the most. So now we will return home and we will spread the word in our countries that these things are within our reach. These things are possible even for smaller countries like ours.
It's always great to work with a bunch of professionals, which you are, but it's even more special to work with folks that have become our friends even more deeply. Thank you.
Thank you to the Axiom-4 crew.
And we have splashdown of the AX4 crew back on planet Earth.
Welcome home.
I think it's really important to have these examples of people to show the new young generation that actually there are no boundaries. Your dreams, your careers, and your lives have no limits. This is what you dream of, then you can pursue.
I will start with telling you about my launch. I had flown fighters most of my life, and I had a sense of how it would feel like. Flying a fighter is a similar, I would say, experience, not same, similar. And so I had an imagination in mind that this is how it would feel like. But when the 9 engines ignited, inside that rocket, the Falcon 9 rocket, and when we were sitting in the capsule, let me tell you, every possible imagination that I had in mind just flew right out of the window. It was so different. And it was so powerful that I could not have ever imagined it to be. When you look at a rocket launch, when you're standing outside, it seems very slow because it's a huge structure, about 70 meters tall, and you are standing at a very far distance and looking at it. But inside, things are happening at such a rapid rate, it's so fast that I was finding it difficult to keep up with the systems, for the first few seconds. And then I had to remind myself, okay, get back, because I was the mission pilot for the mission. And if the pilot is missing, how would it work? It wouldn't work. So I had to tell myself to get back into the system. You're going from 0 kilometers per hour to a speed of 28,500 kilometers per hour. So we got launched into space in these 8.5 minutes, a significant, acceleration that happens. It was just massive, mind blowing, nothing that you can imagine. But the interesting part was that, when this launch is happening, then it is very natural for your mind to drift into spaces. What if the engine fails? What if one of the system fails? What if something goes wrong? What if, a lot of what ifs are there. And it is very easy for our minds to drift into those spaces. And that happens with us in our lives as well. When you are in classrooms, the kal maths ka exam hai. What if जो पढ़ाया मैंने वो एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन नहीं आया, कि मेरा एक नंबर चला गया, या I've missed on this step, or I've missed on this point. I think the trick that I've learned over a period of years, especially in my aviation career as well as in the career of being an astronaut, is that you need to focus on the now of what is happening with you at this point of time. What is the next checklist item you have? What is the next step that you have to do? What is the next action that you have to take? And if you focus on that, if you follow that without realizing, you are into orbit. You don't even come to know. And all of that fear and anxiety that was possible just goes out of the equation, because you are choosing to be present in that moment and just focusing on what I can do right now and not going anywhere else. So that was my biggest learning from the launch, I would say. When you go to space now, first time, and the second stage cuts off. So I've described so dynamic event, such a dynamic event. It is extremely powerful, and we are going into space. Suddenly, when the second stage cuts off, it is silence, nothing. Absolutely, all that dynamism ends suddenly. And you are being pushed back into the seat initially when you are being launched. But when this second stage cuts off happen, you have that feeling of effortlessness or weightlessness, which your hands are floating, your body starts floating, it starts rising from the seat, but you are still tied up. But you feel that sensation and everything becomes smooth. It is still exceptionally fast. You remember, it is still traveling at 28,000 kilometers per hour. So second stage cuts off, and then that feeling of weightlessness happens. You start floating in your seat and you experience microgravity for the first time. 3 of us were first-time flyers, me and the Polish astronaut and the Hungarian astronaut. And our commander was an experienced flyer. In fact, she has spent 695 days in space. That's a lot of days. And we used to joke that she actually breaks the record of several satellites that have been launched. That is the kind of experience that she has. So we were excited like kids, like all of you, and we were just wanting to do everything, do somersaults and do everything, because it is so effortless. You are experiencing it for the first time. And she was telling us not to do it. Take it slow, because otherwise you will be affected by the space motion sickness and other symptoms and everything. And of course, we didn't listen, and we were still doing what we wanted to do. And then within 10 to 15 minutes, we were all holding our heads in our hands and sitting down with a headache and laughing it out and saying that we were told not to do it, but still we went in and did it. So it's a very different feeling that you have, that comes to happens to you when you experience the macrogravity for the first time. Your body has never seen this environment. It is seeing it for the first time. The human evolution has happened in the environment of gravity. We are not designed to stay in an environment of microgravity. But when you experience it for the first time, there are a lot of changes that happen in your body. For instance, when you get to the station and you have the sustained, living in space in the environment of microgravity, what happens is all the blood and fluid from your legs shifts up and goes to your head. So your head becomes bigger, almost twice the size of what I have now was the size of my head when I was in space. Your heart slows down because your heart doesn't have to pump the blood against gravity to your brain. And if it works at the same rate, it would be a lot of blood in your brain. You become taller in space. Your spine elongates, it stretches because there is no load because of gravity. So I was very excited. I'll get to be taller and I go to space. But unfortunately, when you come back into gravity, you come back. You don't remain tall. You get back to your original height. let me tell you, the concept of gravity, it changes when you go to when you go into space, because you're falling at the same time. You're in a free fall. So everything around you is also falling at the same time. So nothing is falling relatively. So if I was to leave this pen in space, it would not fall. It would stay here next to me, even if I was to leave it. But here on Earth, if I leave it, it will fall down, and I have to grab it. But it is very difficult for our minds to get around this concept, and it takes time for you to understand of how it is. So initially, if I was, I have something in my hand and I have to do something else, I would request my crewmates, can you please hold it for me? And they would also hold it, because they are also traveling for the first time. Only the experienced astronauts understand it will not change. So over a period of 5 to 6 days, you understand things, and then you leave it, and then you go into whatever you have to come back, you can pick it up again. So that is what the concept is. The problem happens that after 7 days, you get used to this concept and you start leaving things left, right, and center, finish your work, grab them after you have done, and you go back to doing what you're doing. But then you come back to Earth and you bring back this concept with you on Earth. So I remember the first night I came back and I was sitting on my bed and I was working on my laptop, and I finished sending some mails. I closed my laptop, I took it to the side, and I left it. And obviously, this was not space. So instinctively, immediately, I realized that this is not to be done here. It fell down, and thankfully, there was a carpet below, so it did not get damaged. But that was a quick lesson learned, that the same things will not work in the environment of gravity what works in microgravity. It takes some time to realize this, that this new environment that you have, it is just very different, and your body just gets used to it in just 4 to 5 days. And that is what was extremely fascinating to me. In addition to that, what happened was that the view that you get from space, I think I like to call it as the office with the best view possible. And it was just too fascinating. Yeah. And I give this analogy, how do you perceive Earth when you go out of this planet? It just feels one. It feels that this is the home. This is our home, our entire planet for the entire humanity. And that is extremely difficult it's such a strong feeling that it is extremely difficult to miss. Now, the analogy that I like to give, when we are kids and we start going to school, our home becomes our identity. My father is so and so, my mother is so and so, my sister is so and so. And then when you leave your school and go to a college, your school becomes your identity. I'm from such and such school. When you leave your city and you go to another city to work, your previous city becomes your identity. I'm from Lucknow, I'm from Delhi, I'm from various cities, you say. And when you leave your country and go to another country to work for, like I was training in United States for the past 1 year, my country was my identity. I'm from India, and people were from Poland, from Hungary, and everything else. Now, as an extension, when you leave the planet, your planet becomes your identity, and it is such a strong feeling that you cannot really miss it. Your entire planet, the Earth, it feels like your home. You do not zoom into a particular continent, a particular country, a particular city, a particular region, and say, this is where I live. No, you just look at the Earth and say, this is where I live. The unification of what we have, that is very, very strong, that I carry back with me from this mission. And the second thing was the how India looks from space. If you remember, I don't know, a lot of kids would not remember this, but the teachers who are participating and would understand the iconic statement the first Indian astronaut Rakesh Sharma sir said when he was asked कि ऊपर से भारत कैसा दिखता है, and he said सारे जहां से अच्छा. And I totally understand his motivation now of why he would have said it, because it truly is सारे जहां से अच्छा. It is such a beautiful sight that I cannot describe. I would share this, sometime, so that you can have a look at it. But it is an extremely beautiful sight to understand and see that this is where we have grown all our life. This is where all our friends, families, and everybody is. And it is just so exceptional. Just the sight of the peninsula lighted up, especially in the night. It is an extremely beautiful sight. What I would have loved to cover, cover various phases of my flight and the lessons that I have learned. But I think that this is going back and forth, so we will probably quickly move on to the question answer session. But on orbit, I would like to say if one lesson that I would like all of you to take is change. You know, I've realized that change is the only permanent thing. And sometimes we try to resist it. Sometimes when things change, we are wary. We are worried of where will this lead us? Where will it take us? Will it work out? Will it not work out? We try to ask a lot of questions, a lot of speculations we try to do. But so my advice would be that whatever you do or whatever you say, this is something that is inevitable. It is going to happen. So rather than waiting for it, I would request all of you to be the change. Be the people who bring the change in this world. Every time things are changing, technology is changing, situation is changing, all the things are changing all the time. So my request to you would be that assume responsibility and say that if a change has to be brought, I would be the one to bring it, because someone does it. My request to you would be to be that someone and bring a change. Whatever you see, if you find there is a better way of doing things, if you find there is a better solution to existing problems, assume responsibility and find the change. Get the change and bring it back into the system. So we did a lot of experiments while we were on orbit, and had a stay for, initially it was planned for 14 days, but then it extended to 18 days, and then we were coming back. And during the re-entry, again, I was very excited because all that energy that you have, 28,000 kilometers per hour, and the mass that you have to dissipate that energy in the atmosphere. And how that happens is you use friction of the atmosphere. So you face the capsule, face down against the dense air, and because of the friction, you decelerate. But you also generate a lot of heat in this process. And the heat, to tell you, it is almost equivalent to the sun's temperature. That is around 4,000 plus degrees Fahrenheit. It's a lot of heat. I was very excited that it is going to generate outside the windows. And so I was looking out the windows and waiting for it to happen. And sure did. The flames start, sparks start flying out and the flames come in. And after some time, it is completely covered in a fire, with extremely high temperatures. You can see nothing. You can see only colors: yellow, orange, blue, red, all these kind of different shades you see. And at this point of time, it is natural for somebody to be scared or be afraid, because if you look at it, between these high temperatures and you is just a thin sheet of metal. What if the integrity is breached, and what happens then? So this understanding is very strong. It is there amongst everybody who travels, and we know it. And there is all the reason for people to be anxious and scared, but they still go, they still act, and that is courage. And I would urge all you kids, the future of this country and the world, to assume this. Understand what is at risk, understand the challenges, understand the process, but still, take that leap, take that step. Have the courage to act if you have the conviction. Don't think that it will go south, or it will not work out, or it will not be okay. Always think, then what if it works out? What if it is going to be great? What if in the better direction or in a positive direction? And that gives you a lot of courage and a lot of hope that things are going to work out. And more often than not, they always do work out. So have that courage to take action, even when you're not feeling you're 100% confident. You will never feel 100% confident. So that would be my lesson to you while coming back from the orbit. And then when we come back on Earth, we splash down. That is the time when the relearning happens. As I said, it was extremely different when you are in orbit, but when you come back to Earth, it becomes a relearning of the brain. You forget to walk. You cannot walk. I was thinking I'll get up and I'll start walking, but I took my first step and I was about to fall down. So somebody had to hold me up. So every step is a relearning towards how much of effort it takes for you to walk. So these changes happen in the body, in your mind. It has to rewire to this environment of gravity. Actually, I asked somebody, the concept of weight completely changes. So when I came back, I wanted to take a selfie when I was lying on the stretcher or the medical bed. And I asked somebody, please hand me over your phone. And they gave me this phone, which is the same phone that I have. And as soon as I held it in my hand, he just placed it, my hand went down like this. Because I felt it was so heavy. And I genuinely looked at him and I said, Ki, what do you keep in this? Why is your phone so heavy? And he just smiled at me and said, Ki, buddy, give it a few days. You are just back from space. And that is the kind of relearning that happens, the shift that happens in your mind and brain to understand, that this is again a new environment for the broad body, and you start getting used to these new concepts. But this journey of mine, it is only 400 kilometers up the International Space Station. It is not a lot of distance, but the journey is not for 400 kilometers. It is a long journey to be an astronaut, to get to fly to space, to be there in orbit for 20 days. It has taken me 20 years in my life, and most of the times in these 20 years, it is the mundane task, it is the boring things, it is to sit down and study about things, to make notes, to appear for exams, to write reports, all this kind of work, which is extremely not glamorous and not exciting. The non-glamorous brings you to the glamorous. So understand that the grind is important. It is very, very important, you know, to see the flashy. So do not get bored by it, I would say. Have the discipline that requires for you to work every day, irrespective of whatever the situation is, irrespective of whatever the condition is. Gradually efforts build up over time, so you have to do the non-glamorous to get to the glamorous, I would say. And that has been my biggest takeaway from my life, that whatever is the task at hand, focus on that and keep doing it repeatedly over and over. Try to better yourself next time, every time, and keep going forward. Yeah, I never had this. I have told you, I never had this dream or ambition of becoming an astronaut, when I was a kid. But wherever I was, when I started flying, my aim was to do my every sortie better than the previous one. That was what my aim is, and that has always been my aim throughout. And then when I grew up and had enough experience to appear for another professional qualifying course, then another, which was the test pilot course. So at every step, try to improve yourself by doing the best you can. These are a few lessons that I wanted to share with you. I have a small story that I wanted to, unfortunately, I'm curtailing it short just because of the dynamics that we have today. And I would urge you to keep it conversational now and have a few questions which I would love to answer. And let us take it to that point and start there. Maybe it will work out slightly better. I hope
Thank
I'm
you so
audible to all
much.
of you yet.
Yes, Group Captain Shukla, thank you so much. I think the children have really connected with you. You've spoken about the business of life and living. And it's truly enriching to hear from you. These are the ground principles, that might take you to space one day, children. But this is the groundwork that needs to be done. So let us begin now. Children are waiting very impatiently, sir. We'll begin with the first question from the Hyderabad Public School. Can we have the question, please?
Good morning, sir, and a very happy birthday to you. I am Shanvi Kari from the Hyderabad Public School, Begumpet. My question for you is, many astronauts have spoken about books, documentaries, or even childhood science projects which first sparked their interest in space. Sir, was there a defining moment in your life which ignited your passion for space exploration?
uh, a defining moment. And no, I would say that till 2018, um, I was, like I said, I was traveling to United States in 2018, and I was extremely fascinated when I got to fly the T-38s and the space shuttle landing profile, where the space shuttle actually landed and they practiced those landings. So I flew that profile. It was mind blowing and fascinating for me. I was just so super impressed. But again, the rationality. We did not have a space program. I was working for the Air Force. So the thought, I was always curious about space, but I did not think that I would become an astronaut. But I think all of that was there in my mind. So when this opportunity came up, when the signal came out, I think the decision was very instinctive for me. Like I did not even have to sit down and think. I just applied. It is very natural. This is what is available and I want to be an astronaut. So I probably always wanted to be, but just because of, us not having a program, there was not an opportunity. But when the opportunity came, I think I immediately applied for it or instinctively applied for it. And ever since I applied, I would say the more I have been reading about space, the more fascinated I am by it. it is just it has opened a whole new world for me. And I would like for all of you also to be excited by it in the same way that I am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Shanvi. Now we move on to the La Matnia for girls. Sir, the girls are here rooting for you today. The La Matnia girls, Kolkata. Question from there, please.
Good morning, sir. Many happy returns of the day. I am Sudiksha Keshan from Martinia for Girls, Kolkata. My question to you, sir, is looking back at your student years, what are the small choices or mindsets that most shaped your journey from a school student to an astronaut? And also, sir, many students doubt that their dreams are too big to be fulfilled. So, what advice would you give to them?
Thank you so much for your question. I think it's a great question. And I can tell you very honestly, when I was sitting on those benches and in the chairs in the class, I was probably one of the biggest doubters as kids, of myself. I thought that a lot of things are big enough for me. Actually, I've not said this before, but I would tell you I don't remember the grade, but I went to appear for a competition, a writing competition. My writing used to be apparently good. I can't say that for myself, but people believed that it is good. So I was taken to a competition. But when I reached there were hundreds of kids who were, going to sit down and write the competition. And I doubted myself so much that I refused to sit in the competition because I said that if there are so many kids, how would I get the prize? That was what I used to believe at one point of time. So my advice to all of you is this: you don't have to be the best. You don't have to be the most perfect. You don't have to come first. You don't have to do anything. You just have to do the activity as best as you can do, right? It is everywhere. It's not a competition. It doesn't have to be. uh, so belief in yourself is the most important thing that you can cultivate and you can develop, which I have cultivated and developed over a period of years, going through various situations and doing various things. And I think the mindset that has helped me a lot, which I have always adopted, is um, that if someone can do it, then I can also do it. Because he also has two hands, two eyes, and two legs, and sometimes even that is not the case. But if people can do it, anybody can do it, then I can also do it. So this has what helped me a lot. Going through various tough situations when I am facing difficulties and challenges, and you're down and you think that this is too big for me, and then you just sit down and think that, is this the biggest challenge that people are facing? No, there are even bigger challenges that people are facing, and they are able to deal with it and navigate through it. So, what is this? We can also deal with it. So, I think having that kind of a mindset is very, very important. Cultivate that. You don't have to compete at every step. You have to be just a better version of yourself every day. And then you keep improving and keep going forward. And believe, yes, I would urge and request all of you kids to have the belief in yourself. It doesn't matter, in the present moment. Have the belief in your abilities. All of you are stars. Actually, literally, you are all stardusts, made of these stars that explode. So believe in yourself and keep going forward and dream as big as you can. And whatever you can dream, I can promise you, I'm assuring you, you can achieve. So start with dreaming extremely big, nothing small. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sudiksha. Moving on to the question from Harishri Vidyanidhi School, Thrissur, sir. Thrissur, all the way from Kerala. Yes, Harishri Vidyanidhi School.
Sir, I'm Sanjana from Axiom-4 School, Krishna. My question to you is, how to prepare yourself physically and mentally for the Axiom-4 Mission? And also, sir, was there any one trick that you think you could have done better in your preparation towards the mission?
Group Captain
Uh,
Shubhanshu, I hope the question was clear. Do you want me to repeat it?
no, it's clear. I could make
Thank
out.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, physically and mentally, there is a lot of training that goes into preparing for such missions. I've been training for space flight since 2020. And specifically for this mission, we've been training for the past 1 year. And if you look at it, even before that, in my aviation career, I've always been training. So a lot of training goes into preparing yourself, and how it works is gradually you approach more complex tasks over a period of time. So when I started flying, in 2005, I was just learning the very basics. I could not take off, I could not land, I could not even taxi the aircraft when I started flying. That was the stage, and then gradually you build up over time and you learn advanced skills. But and so much so that within a span of 6 to 8 years, you are flying these modern combat aircraft and doing all sorts of tricks which you could have never imagined that you would be able to do. So this happens when you try to improve upon what you have every day, every single day, and then you reach that position one day. It doesn't happen overnight, obviously. That is how you prepare yourself physically. It is a challenging task, but you practice every day, you train for it every day because the end goal is in mind. And when you do these complex tasks and you achieve them, you are in a way preparing yourself mentally also for this, because you start believing that this is possible. I can do it, and that is how you prepare yourself mentally, and you get the resilience and strength that whatever be the situation, I can handle it. It will be possible for me to take care of it. It is not an issue. So I think the training is decided or curated in a way which prepares you and takes you up to that level which is required for you to be an astronaut or a fighter pilot or whatever profession you choose to be. It gradually takes you there. But you need to have that belief in yourself that you can do it, and that's it. That is all that is required, and every step will become easier every time. And yes, there is a scope of improvement every time. After flying this mission, I realized and learned a lot of things. I would say we have a saying that you are actually ready for a space flight when you finish one. So that is what I felt. I learned a lot of new things. Even though you train and you prepare for the mission, but when you experience the mission, you have a lot of new and different learnings. So I now know very well what I would do when I go for the next time. And you mind me, I'm not saying if, I'm saying when, and because you kids will be in competition, you will come up and you will be there with me, and I will not give up. I will fight with you for it. So we will together, make it happen. And whenever we go next, I would do several things in a very different way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was something. That reply of yours, I think the children, they're all geared up now and wanting to be your co-passengers on your next flight to the space. Moving on to Dubai, sir. We have the GEMS Modern Academy Dubai, and let's hear their question. Please unmute.
Namaste, sir. आपको दुबई से जन्मदिन की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं. My name is Sanjay Gupta, and I'm a class 11 student from GEMS Modern Academy Dubai. And our question to you is, what, according to you, is India's goal after our expedition?
Yeah, Sanjay, your question is over.
Yes, ma'am. That is my.
All right. So Sanjay is asking, what, according to you, should be the goal for India after the expeditions that have already been undertaken, sir? Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you for your question. We already have a program in place. We were selected as astronauts for the Gaganyatri mission. Um, we have been training since 2020 for that mission. And then Axiom-4 happened as a stepping stone towards that mission, because even though you prepare for it, you learn, you do literature survey and you develop your systems. But when you get to be a part of a human space mission, end to end, you learn so much more. These small things that you do not see in literature or just the experience of flying, it is very different. So that experience I have brought back with myself, and now the task is to put this experience back into the system for our own Gaganyaan mission and the following Bharatiya Antariksh Station. So to tell you, the India came out with its own space policy in 2023, in which it is clearly laid out that we will have a Gaganyaan mission in which we will send an Indian to space and recover them back safely, followed by a Bharatiya Antariksh Station, which is our own space station, and eventually an Indian footprint on Moon by 2040. So the policy is very clear, and we have a roadmap right up to the Moon. So this mission is going to be utilized. The information and lessons learned from these missions are going to be utilized to fulfill the ambitions that we have going into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to the next question from Loyola School, Jamshedpur.
Please Good morning, sir. My name is Ayush Sanjay Singh. I'm from Larola School, Jamshedpur. My question is, during your training, what was the toughest simulation you had to undergo? And also, how did it prepare you for the real mission? Thank you.
Uh, the training is challenging in its own way, Ayush. Thank you for your question. It's a lot of different aspects and of the training that is challenging. Physically it is challenging. You have to be extremely disciplined every time, every day. It is mentally very challenging. You are constantly studying, evaluating, practicing for various scenarios and doing all these sorts of things. It is physically very challenging because getting into the spacesuit and getting out of spacesuit is in itself a full gym session. You getting into the suit and coming out of it, it is so straining on your body that it is a full gym session, I would say. And sitting inside the spacesuit for extended hours doing the simulations and doing practice, it is also very challenging. But when you're doing it, you do not really think about it in that way. It just prepares you for the mission by doing these extended sessions, I would say. But you don't think about it of how challenging it is or how difficult it is. It is no point. You have to prepare and you have to get to the next step. The actual mission, I would say, the first few days in this entire process of training and executing the mission, the first few days in this space were the most challenging, I would say, because this was something new. You do not experience it before. Your body is undergoing a lot of changes, but you still have to do the science. You still have to work. So you cannot take medication because the medication makes you drowsy. So you feel bad and you continue to work. So I would say that in this entire process, these 2 to 3 days, in space initial were the most challenging for me. But it taught me a lot of about how the body changes and adapts and how to work even when you are not feeling good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Ayush, for the question. Moving back to the down south of the country from Tamil Nadu, the Good Earth School.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Kavya from Goodard School, Chennai. And my question to you today is, how exactly does space exploration play a role in solving modern problems?
Thank you for your question. That's a great question, I would say. So I would start by telling you the abstract, and then I will home on to a specific example. Um, when we say that we want to explore space, or we want to go outside, what are we essentially trying to do is we are trying to create and sustain life in a place where it should not be existing. There is no air, there is no water, there is no protection from radiation. It's a very harsh environment, and it's an extremely complex task or job to do. So when you pursue these complex tasks or complex jobs, you come up with solutions which you never thought was required. And when you come up with these solutions, you realize that things can be done in a much better way on earth as well. So these solutions do not only apply to space, but they apply to us on the ground. Today, when you're traveling on ground and sitting on your car or going someplace, you instinctively open your mobile and open up the GPS, right? You don't even think twice. GPS pe aap rasta, you put the route and you follow it. How did it come to be? Because of space exploration, right? So these things, when they are happening, we don't understand, but they find a way back into the society of how we can use it. The power tools that you use, the velcro that you use, the duct tape that you use, all of these are inventions because of spaceflight. So these are everyday things that we are using, and these are only, I'm talking about the day-to-day things. Now, coming to science, how it helps us is when you go into microgravity, your physical processes or phenomena or biological process, they change. Uh, there are the evolution. Let's take an example of evolution of bacteria. Because we are in environment of gravity, it is a slow process. But when this gravity is absent, it becomes very fast. So you can do a lot of testing in a very short time. So evolution of drugs, new kind of drugs, like cancer research is happening in orbit today. So you may find a cure for cancer from orbit. And all this research that happens there finds its potential application back on Earth. I myself did some stem cell research for preventing muscle degeneration. And if the supplements work well, then you can find these supplements in medicines that can be given to patients who have muscle degeneration. So when you do space exploration, all of this, it allows you to find solutions for very complex problems which are applicable in space, but they also have a potential application here back on Earth. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving to the Lakshmi School, Madurai. Lakshmi School, Madurai. Yes.
A very good afternoon, sir. I'm Gayatri from Lakshmi School, Tamil Nadu. Sir, we read about your experience of growing plants in microgravity. So, could you elaborate on the experiment and tell us the ways in which farming is possible in space?
Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you for your question. Um, I did not grow actually literally plants, I would say, but I took seeds. I took the seeds for moong and methi with me to space. And the idea is essentially for food security in space. The challenge is that sending anything to space is very expensive. So you want to minimize the size and the volume and the weight of what you're sending to space. And nutrition has to be met. So you're trying to find foods which are very dense nutritionally and calorifically, high calories and high nutrition food, which can fulfill the requirements of astronauts' daily input. So with this mindset in mind, we took moong and methi seeds in space because growing them does not require a lot of infrastructure. They were just, boxes with a filter paper and the seeds were below and you inject water inside that. That's it. And within 7 days, we were starting to see that they were sprouting and they were growing in space. And also, it also has different benefits like medicinal benefits, methi and everything. So I think what it does is that it solves the problem of food security in space. But imagine now if it is able to solve problems of food security in space, it is also able to solve problems of food security on ground, on Earth, and especially in areas that are, disaster prone or some natural disaster has happened or something is going wrong wherein you need to provide, adequate nutrition to people when there is not existing. So all this can be used in a limited space to provide this food security to the people here on ground. So farming, yes, I have been called a space farmer as well, and I'm very proud of it that I was able to grow some seeds in space. But I think these things will find its way back again and help us here on ground as well. Thank you, Gayatri.
Thank you, Gayatri. Sir, I have a question about that. Maybe it's very impish for me to ask you this now, but on Earth, the shoot grows up and the root goes down, and we've read that it's because of the gravity that the root goes up and the shoot goes up towards sunlight. How is it there in space?
Yes, so there is no direction in which the root will go. It can go anywhere. It is lying sideways, it goes sideways. So there is no orientation. That is the difference which happens. It is just the absence of gravity that makes things happen very differently.
Thank you for sharing that. Moving on to Kolkata, the Future Foundation School, Kolkata, please.
Morning, sir. I am ready. Hello.
Yes, you're audible.
I can hear you.
Good morning, sir. I am Lilith Bhattacharjee of the Future Foundation School, Kolkata. Many happy returns of the day, sir. My question to you is that what role does space exploration and research play towards finding solutions to problems like climate change and resource scarcity?
Thank you so much for your question. I understood what solutions does space exploration provide us for climate change. And the second thing?
Yes.
So he's saying
Sorry?
resource scarcity.
Resource scarcity. Okay, thank you. I understand. Okay, great. Thank you for your question. See, first of all, compliments to all the kids. These are brilliant questions. So you're not just asking me about my experience, but you are asking me about how do we use space to solving these problems. I think half the battle is won. You are asking the right questions. Now we have to get to the right answers. So to your question, I would say climate change is the problem, and what space exploration allows us to do, the monitoring of Earth, from outside, it has allowed us so much of insight by getting us detailed images, doing mapping of the ground, catching natural disasters in time, giving warnings for tsunami. All these kind of things are possible by continuous monitoring of Earth from the outside by doing the space exploration, and this information is valuable not just in the present moment when the things are happening, but also in creating a data set in the past, historically. So empirically, you can now have models that are based on this empirical data to have a predictive analysis into the future of how and when something will happen. And that allows you to save lives and also understand how climate is changing and bring this awareness into the people that this is the rapid rate at which this climate is changing, and we need to take preventive actions for that. To the second question, scarcity. I think space is a great example. When you are in the space station, your resources are extremely limited, probably more limited than anywhere here on Earth, and you are sustainability is the only way to live. There is no other way. You are breathing the same air which is being recycled and filtered. You are using the same water. There's a very nice joke that we have on the space station that yesterday's coffee is also tomorrow's coffee. So because the water is reclaimed, almost 98% of it is not wasted. So you use the same water. It is not no resource is wasted. You utilize the same clothes for several number of days as long as it is possible, before discarding them. The food is optimized. You do not waste food. If you open a packet of food, you have to finish it. If you're not hungry, don't open a packet. You don't. So there is no wastage in space. So the concept of resource utilization or sustainability is extremely well thought of, because that becomes a challenge there, and that teaches us a lot of how it can be. So we understand how less it takes to live. When we are here on ground, we do not really understand that, and we are generally wasteful in how much of resources we are using, but it takes much lesser for us to live. So I think this understanding is very well it is very well understood by the people who have traveled to space, and this is our job. And like I said, you are asking the right questions. It is now our job to get to the right answers of how to find ways and means to utilize this properly. Thank you.
I think that was a lovely, lovely connection, a takeaway for all of us. We say sustainable, but we are actually not taking those kind of actions, the daily habits that need to change for all of us here. So thank you for that, Group Captain Shukla. Moving on to the question from Satpal Mittal School. You're joining from Ludhiana, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Jena Bembi from Satpal Mittal School, Ludhiana, Punjab. My question to you is that has AI become a part of space missions? And if yes, could you please give us a few examples, sir?
Thank you, Jenna. Thank you for your question. The international space missions in general, when you say yes, the answer to that question is yes. AI is very rapidly becoming a part of a lot of space missions, going into the future. But if you ask from my experience, I traveled to the International Space Station. International Space Station began production in 1998. The first module was launched in 1998, and the completion happened in 2011. AI is a recent phenomena. It was not existing then. So the design of this International Space Station does not inherently feature AI, in its design and implementation. But since AI is now available, there are a lot of potential uses that are happening. All the new satellites that are being launched, to give you an example, the data that we collected by in terms of photographs and pictures, sending it back and analyzing it was a huge task. A huge task. Whether it is appropriate, it is not appropriate, usable, not usable. It was terabytes of data that we were sending, and it was a huge challenge for people here back on ground. This is a potential use of AI. You can feed in the logic, and you can tell him to sift through all the images, clear it based on some protocols or some logic that you have already put into it, and it will be an automated process. Just a small example that I'm giving you. Like this, AI is being planned to used in all the future missions, all the possible applications that we have. The challenge is, and I would urge all of the kids to understand this. AI is a powerful tool in your hand if you know how to use it effectively. You know, you cannot think that you can give up everything to the AI and things will happen on its own. It won't happen that way. You have to be involved. You have to be involved in the process, but you should know how to use the AI to effectively increase the efficiency of what you're trying to do. That is a skill that you need to build up on. It is not. There is a lot of scare going around that AI will take our jobs. Yeah, AI will take your jobs in any case. I don't think that is going to happen. You have to learn how to use AI to things, to create more opportunities, to create more possibilities. So it is an assistive tool, and I think it's an asset to have. So please learn about AIs. I think it is going to be extensively used in the future space missions.
Right, right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving to the IDAS Campus School from Tamil Nadu. Sareen, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Please go ahead, beta.
Good afternoon, sir.
Let's give sir a minute to have some water. I think.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Please go ahead.
Yes.
I am Sareen Shaila Sharma from ISRO Gaganyatri School. It is very exciting to meet you, sir. So my question to you is, what are some of the solutions the international scientific community is working on to tackle the issue of space debris?
Thank you so much for your question. Again, I'm so fast. Before I answer your question, let me tell you, I'm so fascinated by the kind of questions that you're coming up. I'm extremely pleased by these questions. Clearly, when you ask this question, I am understanding that you have an understanding of how big a problem space debris is. But still, I would like to give an overview that it has become extremely difficult in two ways. One is the actual debris, which is caused by fragments of objects that have broken up in space. And there are several key events that have happened in the past which have caused this. In specific, the testing of anti-satellite weapons in the past, which have caused millions of objects, I would say. And the second is the man-made objects which we are deliberately sending, which are in terms of satellites and projects like Starlink and Starshield and all the constellations that we're planning to build around the space. So both are challenge. It's a huge challenge, and it is also understood by everybody. So there are a lot of companies that are coming up now which are working in terms of debris removal, from the space. So one aspect is, how do we deal with the existing debris which is there, and the second aspect is, how do we prevent more debris from accumulating in the space? Because there is something known as Kessler's syndrome. I don't know if you have heard of it, but Kessler's syndrome is a stage wherein if we reach those many number of fragments or debris in space, then the collisions will be so much exponential that we will never be able to contain it. It'll keep happening. It'll keep interacting with each other, hitting each other, and then the more debris will keep getting generated in space. So there are companies which have already come up. The countries are discussing about this in two ways. One is ethical utilization of space. If you send a satellite, the eventual fate of that satellite has to be decided by you. Either it goes into something known as graveyard orbit, which is a higher orbit, which does not affect the low Earth orbit, which is around the Earth, or it is at such a low orbit that it comes back into the atmosphere and it burns up. So two possible ways. And the second aspect is, active removal of debris from the space, which a lot of companies are working on. So hopefully, when you grow up, you are going to give us some unique solution or find a way of how to quickly remove this debris, from space and keep our space safe from all these small debris. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Yes, sir. Moving on to Agra. At St. Anthony's Junior College, Daksha is waiting to ask her question.
Good morning, sir. I'm Daksha Agarwal of St. Anthony's Junior College, Agra. Sir, I have an interesting question for you. What's that one thing in space that completely surprised you during the space mission?
Actually, everything. It was not just one thing. I think everything surprised me because yeah, you train, you prepare, you have an imagination in mind of how it would feel like, but it is very different, very, very different. But I think if I have to pick one thing up, since you asked this question, I would say sleeping. Sleeping in space was, I knew how it is supposed to happen, but it was an extremely new experience for me. So there is no bed, right? You get into a sleeping bag and you have to tie yourself up at one end. You have to fix yourself, because if you don't fix yourself, you will sleep in one place and you will be found somewhere else. Found somewhere else in the morning. You will just float away. Gradually drift away. And so initially I wanted to put a pillow behind my neck, just to have that feeling when you go to space, how you sleep on ground. But no matter how many number of pillows you put, you will never really rest on it, because you're essentially sleeping in air. You are floating. It is very interesting how your body gets used to this kind of this new concept. You're floating and just lying in air. Imagine that, and you go off to sleep, and it's not a problem. So after third or fourth day, I had a very strong sensation that I'm sleeping on a very hard bed, a wooden bed, a wooden plank, even though I was sleeping in air. That was a shift that happens for your body. So that was very surprising for me. For me, how quickly the body gets used to this new environment. And also there is no restriction. You can choose your sleeping place. It's a bunk bed everywhere in space. You can choose to sleep on the floor, on the wall, on the ceiling, wherever you want. You can just go and hang wherever, whichever side you want, and you can sleep there. So it is very fascinating and exciting. Thank you.
So interesting. Thank you, Laksha, for that question. Wow, these are some experiences I think most of us are never going to have. Some of us, some of them might have, but very, very interesting. So, moving on to the question from the Sri Ram School, Montessori, here in Gurgaon.
Namaste, sir. I am Zoe Singh from the Sri Ram School, Montessori. My question for you is, how is the experience of being at the International Space Station with astronauts from other nations, and how did it enrich you as a researcher, explorer, and a man of science?
Thank you so much for your question. I think space flight in itself is very collaborative in nature. It is a lot of people come together from very different places, very different, a lot of different regions and cultures, and we come together and work for a common goal to execute this mission successfully. And what happens is when you mix cultures, when mix different ethnicities, nationalities, you learn a lot from how things are being done. And I think genius is just the definition for me is just having a different perspective to understand the same thing that has been happening for a long time, and that suddenly flips a switch and you come up with a very unique way of doing things. So I think it was very enriching for me to see how things are being done from different parts of the country, how different people are approaching the same problem, very different philosophies. So we were fortunate to have trained in the Russia as well for the cosmonaut training, as well as in United States now for this training. And essentially both are achieving the same objective, going to space safely, bringing back people safely, conducting science, same things, but very different way of doing it. And there are positive points both sides, there are negative points both sides, like everything, it is present everywhere. So I think it was a very good learning for me to understand of how these things are being approached in a very different way from all over the world. I think exposure really is very important. When you see a lot of different things, your mind just opens up and you accept the possibilities of the same thing is possible to be done in a lot of different ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, sir. The boys are waiting at the Doon School, Dehradun, sir. So let's hear from them.
Good afternoon, sir. Firstly, a very happy birthday from the entire Doon School community. I'm Arif Patel, sir, and I'd like to know more about one defining moment from your mission that changed your entire perspective on life on Earth.
Thank you. I came into this conversation thinking I'll be thrown easy questions and it'll be just a fun activity for me. You guys are making it hard. Thank you so much. I think there were two particular moments which I very fondly remember. One was the first time when I saw India from space. It was very emotional for me when I was there in space. And I can do, it still gives me chills when I think about it. Just that moment, I was working for my science. It had already been 2 to 3 days. We had been extremely busy. I had not had any time to look out the window and just see this. And one of the NASA astronauts, she flew up to me and she said, very generously, she said that we are going to pass over India. Would you like to have a look? I said, of course, I would like to have a look. And then she took me, and it was already set up. The cameras were set up and the window was prepared. And I just went, and I had been very busy. But just the sight of flying over our country, at night, and we were coming from south. So from the Indian Ocean side, we were going to cross from southwest to northeast, and just flying over this entire country and looking at it from the space. I think it was surreal. It was exceptionally beautiful, and the kind of emotions it generated was very overwhelming for me. So that was definitely one of the very big from the mission. And the second, I would not say any particular event per se, but when you sit there and when you have time and when you're looking back at Earth, it just changes your perspective completely. It's a very, very different feeling. I was giving this analogy to you when we were talking when I was giving the talk. But looking back at Earth from the outside, it feels like this is your home. And this is when I say this is your home, it's not about a particular country, a particular region, a particular city. It is about the entire planet. This is your home. So that feeling of oneness, it is very strong. And the second feeling, which is very strong when you look back at Earth, is the feeling of insignificance. We do great things, we become very important people in life, and we assume very high offices. All this happens, and then suddenly we become very big. But when you look back at Earth, from the outside, from the space, and you see the size of our planet, the insignificance of what and who we are, it becomes extremely pronounced. We are 5 feet, 6 feet, and look at the planet. It is just incomparable. There is no comparison at all. I think that these would be the two biggest highlights for me from the mission. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think we should thank all our students. They are getting all the gold nuggets out of you, about the mission. So yes, so now we have to move to Gujarat, to the JG International School, Gujarat. Radhika.
Good afternoon, sir. It is such an honor to talk to you. I'm Radhika Nair from JG International School, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. My question is that, in your opinion, what are the key takeaways from the Axiom-4 mission for India's space exploration program? Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. In my opinion, the key takeaways, space exploration, I was just covering in this previous answer as well. One thing is that definitely allows you to dream much bigger. You can define much bigger goals for you when you take up a project individually versus when you take up a project in a team. You can think of much bigger dreams and much bigger scale of projects that you want to achieve. And I think the true example of human collaboration is the International Space Station in itself. Imagine an orbiting laboratory. Since 2000, it has been always manned. Always some human has not been on planet Earth every single day since 2000. So that is the fascinating achievement for human collaboration and engineering, I would say. So the lessons for us, I would say, we are already on the path. We have our own mission Gaganyaan, we have our own Bharatiya Antariksh Station, and we have our own plan to land on the moon by 2040. So the lessons I would take away is this: that wherever I have been, the countries where these successful programs have been, like Russia and United States, extremely successful space programs have been, I see a very thriving culture about space science. Kids are aware, they read up about space history, and they talk about space, they understand all the challenges and everything. So I would like to see that happening in our country. It's already happening. You guys are asking fantastic questions, and you're already curious about this, and I think this is the great first step in this entire journey that we are going to have. Because if we want to get to moon by 2040, we will need all of you. We will need all of you, all your smartness and intelligence that you have to get us to the point where we want to go. So be curious and keep dreaming big, and I think we will eventually get there with all your help. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think the scientific temper and the quest for this space exploration, I think we all have a mission to build that up in our students now. Moving on to the second last question, sir. I can understand now that you must be a little exhausted answering their questions, but they are waiting, and it's the Johnson Grammar
Not at all,
School
ma'am.
in Hyderabad.
Not at all.
Up with the placards and all, wishing you and being with you. Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Arush from Johnson Grammar School, Habsiguda, Hyderabad. And my question to you is, being a role model for young dreamers, what is your guidance or roadmap for students who want to become an astronaut and aim for the stars?
Thank you so much for your question again. I have a lot of advice. Obviously, I have tried to spread it out during the course of my talk, and but if I have was to leave you with just a few, first is there are two things which I say. Dream big and stay curious. And the reason I say dream big is out of my personal story as well, but also what I have observed and I have seen. Uh, it is possible for us humans to achieve anything that we conceive of. There is nothing that is not possible. I've seen examples of it. I've seen things happening which were never thought possible, and we are still doing it. So the only problem, what happens is that we are never able to think that this is possible. So the first step is thinking that this is possible and I can do it. And that is the first step. So that is why I say dream big. Dream as big as possible. There is nothing that you cannot do. Everything is possible. So first step is to dream big, and thereafter stay curious all your life. Everything, every new information, everything that goes back into what you're trying to do should excite you. If you're enjoying what you're doing, there is no limit to what you will achieve. So these are two big things that I tell people. And the third thing which I would want to leave you with is, I really don't know what is the path to success. There is no single path. There is so many different ways that you can be successful, whatever your interest be. A lot of strategies, a lot of different paths are available. So I don't think anyone knows. Whatever you may hear from people, I don't think this is one single thing that somebody can tell you that do this and you will be successful. I don't think that is true. But one thing that I have found very common across the board is this, that you should have a never give up attitude. That is mandatory. That is required. Whatever be the field, whatever be the way that you're approaching, you have to believe that you will never give up and you will always keep trying every day. Something or the other. Keep working hard. Even if you don't succeed at first, fail. Try again. Keep doing it. Change your path if you think this is not for you, something else. But never give up. And that I can tell you is a sure short mantra of getting where you want to be. And so these would be only broad three things that I would leave with you if I have to just tell you three. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Shukla. You gave this message from space, and today we hear it here. So unbelievable for us. Moving on to a reflective question, the last one for the day from the student sitting at the Sri Ram School, Aravali, Gurugram. Yes, Shrihan.
Namaste, sir. I'm Shrehan Khera from the Sri Ram School, Aravali. My question to you is slightly different, as ma'am said. When you work on a mission that takes years, where so much effort can depend on a single moment, what keeps you inspired through the uncertainty? Is it the thrill of discovery, curiosity, teamwork, or simply the belief that some questions are worth chasing, even if we can never fully answer them?
Wow, again, let me compliment you first for the question, before I start giving my answer to you. I think you kids are already asking fascinating questions. But I think I exactly know the answer to this question for myself, when you ask me. And I think it is the belief. It is the belief of what I'm pursuing is meaningful and what I'm pursuing is going to be beneficial to a lot of other people that I'm trying to do, The thrill and excitement of going to space is, yes, it is there. It is very exciting. But it's a short-term motivation, I would say, that, now the mission is done. I've been there, I've come back. If that was my only motivation of going to space, it is gone, it is ended. Now, what do I do? So I think that, yes, excitement for going to space is always there, but the belief of what I'm doing and I'm trying to do is going to be meaningful, is going to change things, is going to bring an impact. I think that is what drives me to be consistent, be disciplined, and be focused, even in challenging times, even in uncertain times, and keep working towards the goal that you have. There are a lot of times that things don't go your way. There are a lot of times when things don't happen as you want them to happen. And it can be extremely frustrating. But, if you have the belief that, what you're doing is it for a higher, calling or a purpose, I think that is a big enough fuel for your engines to remain ignited even when things are not going your way. So yes, this would be my answer to you. Thank you.
I think that is going to be the new resilience mantra for your engines to remain ignited even when things are not going your way. That's the mantra we are going to lead with now. So thank you so much, sir. We are touched. I think you've sprinkled stardust on all of them, and they are going to carry these memories with them. We are going to carry these memories with us, sir. We are so thankful, and I believe that we owe it to you to present a memento. But just before that, sir, a detour. Now, yesterday when we were doing kind of a trial run, Bishop Cotton School, Bangalore, a very sweet child, he asked me, "Ma'am, I know that my question has not been selected, but ma'am, can I just say one word to sir?" I had promised him that, yes, I'll give him that chance if there is a chance, sir. So shall we give him that chance, sir?
Absolutely, please.
All right, Bishop Cotton School, Bangalore, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. I'm Harsh Mukesh Kumar from Bishop Cotton Boys School. I have one question for you, sir. That is, as a child, it was my dream to also become an astronaut, just like you are now. So, in what ways did your education shape you as a person and shape your perspectives on life?
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much for your question. Let me remind you, you are still a child. Your dream is still alive. You can still be an astronaut, and you just have to work towards that. Okay, so that is still open for you. Uh, we don't realize when we sit in these classrooms what are we being taught. At least I would speak from my personal experience. Many a times it used to feel to me that whatever we are studying is just theoretical, and the values that are being imparted to us, uh, they don't make sense at a lot of times. But I can tell you that when I look back at what kind of education I got from my school, I think it has played an important role. Subconsciously, you capture a lot of things which you do not realize in the moment, but they help you in the future. A lot of things. We used to be taught the world is one, and as a global, to look at the earth, Vasudev Kutumbakam, the concept, it was covered and harped upon quite a bit in our school. I did not really understand it then, but I understand it now, especially when I have traveled to space and I have come back. The second important thing which I learned very early, as I told you, was the concept that if someone else can do it, I can do it too. The concept of having the strength to have the belief that it is possible. I probably was never the one to do something in the first time, in the first go, but I did it. That is what I would say, has been my biggest strength or biggest learning that has been very, very helpful to me eventually in my life. That I find a way to find a solution to whatever is in front of me. Not today, not tomorrow, day after, whatever time, but I do find it. So I think that is very, very important to have the resilience, have the belief that you can do it. It doesn't matter how fast you get there. What matters is that whether you get there or not. So this is what you should take with you, and this is what you should keep. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Someone sneaked up. Yes.
Yeah, I saw someone sneak up.
So that is something that the
And
Catonian.
then the video goes. Yes, yes.
So that is something that
Can we have them
the
spotlighted?
family would like to say to you, sir.
Bishop Cotton can be highlighted. Yeah.
So,
Yes, yes.
so you've taught us that it isn't just about wearing the national colors on our arms, but it is about living its value each and every day. So there is one quote that we'd like to tell you. Some men bear the flag in their hands, but legends like you bear the nation in their soul. Thank you so much, sir. And from the Catonian family, a very happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Beautiful lines. Whoever wrote it. Thank you so much. Absolute pleasure and honor to speaking with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Group Captain Shukla. I think thank you is a small word today. We are in gratitude. Absolutely, and we are so full of enthusiasm. We are so full of excitement towards, all that you have shared. The possibilities that you've opened up for all the students. They can dream, they can think of doing all those things, that perhaps were not that possible when we were students ourselves in schools. So thank you for being here today. And I think we have a small memento from the CISC board that if Father Shinoj is there from INAX, we would request him to hand over that
Yes,
memento to you
yes.
now. And
Yeah,
our official Dr.
before we do that,
Advocate.
ma'am. Yeah, I
Yes.
would also like to extend my thanks to you and the entire team. Thank you for organizing this. I think, like I said, I was already prepared. My mission begins after my mission is over, and so this is my mission now. And thank you for doing this. It was an absolute pleasure to be interacting with these kids. Very happy and very fascinated by the kind of questions that they are asking. They're already asking the right questions. And this is the very good step. We just have to enable them now to get where they want to be. So I think the future is really bright, and all these kids are going to take us there, where we are planning to go, the ambitious dreams that we have. So thank you so much for organizing this. Thank you.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
sir. Thank you.
thank you so much for being here. We are getting wonderful feedback from all over the country. Children are sending so much appreciation for you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lot of appreciation. You really connected with the children. Really very well connected. You are one among them. They are seeing you as an elder brother, not as an officer in the Indian Air Force. Yeah. An inspiration for them.
No, yes, and I would like to keep it that way. Yes, I would like to keep it that
Thank
way.
you
I
so
was there
much.
sitting on those benches, sitting on those chairs. Yes.
And watching you
Thank you,
very
sir. Thank you so much.
carefully.
Yeah, I think they have
Watching you
something
very
here too.
carefully. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Albert, for doing the honors for CISC. And once again, thank you, Group Captain Shukla, for being with us today. As I said, you've sprinkled the stardust on them. That definitely will illuminate their paths as they go ahead. And
Thank you.
also, you know, we hope to see you in person sometime and hope to have this interaction in person sometime with our students.
Yes.
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 So I
No,
think
we would love to do that. Absolutely, ma'am. We'll make it happen. And it was a great time. I enjoyed this. It was a privilege to be here and talking to all the kids. Thank you so much for organizing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this. A big thank you to Father Shinoj, the President of INAX, for facilitating all of this. And of course, to Mr. Anurag Agarwal, whose connection finally worked. And we could have this, meeting happen today.
Yes.
And to the team there
Yes.
at Goa and the team here at Delhi. And of course, our lovely, lovely schools, the heads of schools, the principals, the students, teachers who have made this possible. A big, big thank you and all the very best to all of you guys. Keep it rocking. As Sir said, have the resilience, dream, and make them come true, right? So with those words, thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.